of a lack of effort. You're stuck because of a lack of order. And this isn't just another motivational speech. This is a kingdom interruption, because when Jesus takes his rightful place, not second, not somewhere in the mix, but first, that's when real power, real fruit, and real freedom begin. Welcome to Myron Golden. Track the channel where we preach truth that transforms. If this message already speaks to your spirit, hit like, drop a comment, and share this with someone who needs alignment today. Let's go, because Jesus must be first. You're out here grinding, building, posting, hustling, trying to level up. But let me tell you the brutal truth that most people won't say out loud. If Jesus isn't first in your life, everything else is out of order. Your money? Misaligned. Your goals? Misguided. Your relationships? Draining. Your results? Frustrating. And you're wondering why nothing's clicking, nothing's flowing, nothing's breaking through. I'm here to align you. This isn't just a mindset shift. This is a lordship revelation, because once you put Jesus where he belongs, at the top, not the side, your entire life begins to work the way it was designed to work. So don't scroll, don't pause, don't blink. This message might just be the divine interruption you didn't know you were praying for. Let's go. If Jesus isn't first, everything else is out of order. Let's get this straight right now. The foundational principle of kingdom living, kingdom thinking, and kingdom success is divine order. And divine order always starts with Jesus at the top, not as a co-pilot, not as a Sunday morning hobby, not as a spiritual insurance policy when life gets hard, but as the absolute non-negotiable first. When Jesus is not first, it doesn't matter what you're trying to build, your business, your brand, your marriage, your influence, it's out of order. And anything out of order will either collapse, stagnate, or wear you out. It might look like it's working for a season. It might even grow fast, but what's not built on the rock will eventually crumble under pressure. Because what's not aligned with the king won't be sustained by the reason most people are overwhelmed isn't because they're doing too much. It's because they're doing the wrong things in the wrong order. They've placed money first, results first, validation first, even ministry first. And they wonder why there's confusion, why they feel anxious, why doors are closing. But here's the thing. When your life is out of alignment with divine order, frustration becomes familiar. You'll always feel like something's missing because someone is missing from first place. Jesus doesn't share the throne. He doesn't do second place savior. When he's not first, he's not in it. And that's why people grind so hard. They're trying to force outcomes God never authorized. They're praying for blessing over things God never told them to pursue. They're out here asking for favor on frameworks built in disobedience. That's why burnout shows up. That's why peace is gone. That's why things feel harder than they should. Because if Jesus isn't first, everything else is chasing confusion. Now, let's talk about what first actually means. Putting Jesus first isn't about giving him 1 hour in the morning and then ignoring him the rest of the day. It's not about reading a devotional and then living like the world. First means he's the filter for every decision. He's the foundation of every goal. He's the CEO of your business. He's the Lord of your relationships. He's the voice you obey even when it costs you. When Jesus is first, your entire framework changes. You don't just ask, what do I want to do? You ask, Lord, what have you called me to do? You don't just chase a bag, you steward purpose. You don't just chase opportunities, you discern assignments. Because when Jesus is in his rightful place, the rest of your life comes into divine order. And when things are in divine order, there's clarity, there's direction, there's supernatural peace. Too many people are out here trying to manifest destiny without lordship. They want God's promises without God's positioning. But listen, promises only manifest in the presence of obedience. And obedience starts with order. Jesus must be first. Not second to your job, not second to your emotions, not second to your reputation. If anything is sitting on the throne of your heart that's not Christ, you are setting yourself up for chaos. You are building on sand and praying for storms to stop. And you can't call Jesus first while still living like your feelings are king. When he's first, your ego bows. When he's first, your agenda surrenders. When he's first, your plans get submitted, not just shared. You stop asking God to bless your plans and start asking him to reveal his plans. That's the difference between order and disorder. That's the difference between human effort and divine alignment. This is not about religion, this is about government. Jesus didn't come to give you a belief system. He came to establish a kingdom. And a kingdom has structure. A kingdom has order. A kingdom doesn't operate based on your preferences. It operates based on the king's priorities. So if you're trying to live in kingdom power without submitting to kingdom order, you're fooling yourself. There is no kingdom breakthrough without kingdom alignment. When Jesus is first, he governs your time. You stop wasting hours on distractions and start using your time with precision. When he's first, he governs your thoughts. You stop entertaining fear, offense, and scarcity. You start renewing your mind in truth, walking in authority, and thinking like royalty. When he's first, he governs your energy. You don't say yes to everything. You say yes to him and let him order the rest. And the best part is this: when he's first, you don't have to force anything. You don't have to chase. You don't have to manipulate. You don't have to stress, because when Jesus is first, grace shows up. Provision follows purpose. Open doors meet prepared hearts, and blessings begin to overtake you, not because you earned them, but because you were positioned for them. So stop trying to figure out why things feel off. Stop blaming the enemy for everything. Sometimes it's not warfare, it's disorder. And the cure for disorder is simple: put Jesus first. Success without surrender is spiritual sabotage. There's a dangerous lie floating around, especially in the world of business and self-development. It says you can succeed on your own terms. You can grind your way to greatness. You can build your brand, get the bag, and create your dream life, and still have God somewhere in the mix. But that's not kingdom. That's hustle culture wrapped in spiritual language. In the kingdom, success without surrender is not success. It's sabotage. It's self-destruction disguised as progress. You can have 7 figures in the bank and still be bankrupt in your soul. You can have clout, contracts, and clients, but if you built it apart from the will of God, you built it on sand. That thing you're calling success, without surrender, it's a trap. And the enemy is clapping while you're clapping for yourself. Because here's what most people don't realize: Satan doesn't always fight you with failure. Sometimes he fights you with false success. He'll let you climb fast as long as it's the wrong ladder. He'll let you win awards as long as it kills your dependence on God. He'll let you build an empire as long as it pulls you away from the eternal kingdom. If you are not surrendered to God, your success is not protected. You may rise, but you won't last. You may impress people, but heaven isn't impressed. And worst of all, you'll mistake movement for progress. But motion doesn't mean momentum, and acceleration without direction is just destruction in disguise. Surrender is the soil where real success grows. You don't just need strategy, you need submission. You don't just need goals, you need guidance, because kingdom success is not measured by what you achieve. It's measured by how aligned you are with the will of God. And alignment only comes through surrender. When you surrender, you stop chasing applause and start chasing assignment. You stop idolizing outcomes and start honoring obedience. You stop asking, how far can I go? And start asking, how deep can I go with God? Surrender flips the game. It rewires your mindset, it dethrones ego, and it makes space for anointing. You cannot walk in supernatural results with a stubborn heart. You can't receive divine downloads while clinging to pride. You can't multiply kingdom wealth while hoarding kingdom instruction. Surrender is the unlock key. Surrender says, God, I'll go where you send me, give what you ask, and build what you breathe on, not what my flesh prefers. Most people are afraid of surrender because they think it means loss. But in the kingdom, surrender doesn't mean loss, it means transfer of power. You hand over your small plan and God gives you his supernatural blueprint. You drop your tiny vision and God downloads eternal purpose. You lay down your idol of control and he gives you unshakable peace. That's why real success doesn't come from ambition. It comes from access. And access is unlocked by surrender. Your gift might open the door, but your surrender determines what happens once you're in the room. So don't let false success seduce you. Don't let surface wins keep you from soul level impact. Don't build a tower to your name while ignoring the God who gave you breath. Because success without surrender isn't just a mistake, it's spiritual sabotage. You don't add Jesus to your life, you build your life on him. This right here is where most people miss it. They think Jesus is something you sprinkle on top of your plans like seasoning. They treat the Son of God like a supplement, an optional add-on when life gets hard or when business gets slow. But Jesus didn't come to be an addition, he came to be the foundation. He's not your life coach, he's not your therapist, he's not your backup plan. He is the author and finisher. You don't tack him on after you've built the house, you lay the whole structure on him from the beginning. If you're trying to build a marriage, build a brand, build a business, build a legacy, and you haven't made Jesus the cornerstone, you're setting yourself up for a slow collapse, because whatever is built without Christ at the center eventually bows to pressure. It doesn't matter how passionate you are. It doesn't matter how smart, skilled, or well-networked you are. If Christ is not your cornerstone, your structure has no supernatural reinforcement. There's a difference between inviting Jesus into a part of your life and giving him the whole blueprint. Some people want him in their church life, but not their finance. They want him in their relationships, but not in their habits. They want him in their morning devotionals, but not in their business meetings. But he doesn't operate like that. He doesn't come into the room unless he's Lord of the house. He doesn't partner with partial access. Jesus is not a sidekick in your journey. He is the way. That means your career should be built on him. Your parenting should be built on him. Your daily routine, your values, your conversations, your calendar, it should all be constructed on the framework of his word. Because when your entire life is built on Christ, storms don't shake you. Setbacks don't destroy you. Delays don't discourage you. You've got a different kind of strength, a kingdom kind of durability, because your roots go deep in the rock. Some people ask why they feel stuck, why they can't break through, why it seems like they're working so hard but getting so little. It's not because they lack talent, it's because they lack foundation. Jesus isn't the base of their decisions. He's just a name they invoke when things don't go their way. They've built towers of goals on top of a foundation of self. And when the winds of life blow, that structure starts leaning. You weren't created to carry the weight of your own plans. That's why stress shows up. That's why anxiety creeps in. That's why panic becomes normal, because you're holding things that were never yours to hold. But when you build your life on Jesus, you're not building with your own strength. You're building with his. You're not building for temporary applause. You're building for eternal impact. When you build on Christ, you don't chase trends. You build on truth. You don't shift with culture. You're anchored in the kingdom. And because your identity is built on him, not on the opinions of man, you can't be manipulated by fear, comparison, or criticism. You move different because you're built different. Your goals don't come from the marketplace. They come from your master. Your vision isn't defined by what's popular. It's defined by what's purposeful. There's a major difference between a Christ-centered life and a Christ-themed life. Some people decorate their life with Christian language but don't have any spiritual authority. They wear the cross but don't carry it. They quote scripture but don't live surrendered. They say Jesus is first, but every decision says otherwise. The truth is, if he's not the foundation, it doesn't matter how pretty the walls are, the house is still unstable. Jesus said a wise man builds his house on the rock. That means storms are still coming, life will still test you, but when you're built on the rock, you don't break, you hold, you endure. You press forward with peace because your stability isn't tied to circumstances, it's tied to Christ. Your progress isn't based on how you feel, it's based on who you follow. And here's something critical. Building on Jesus isn't always flashy. Sometimes it means making decisions that look foolish to the world but are full of faith. Sometimes it means moving slow in a fast culture. Sometimes it means pruning what's popular so you can stay pure, but it's worth it. Because when Jesus is your foundation, you're not just building for now, you're building for eternity. You can have all the right strategies, the right systems, the best marketing, the sharpest mindset, but if Jesus isn't the foundation, you're walking on spiritual quicksand. Don't just ask God to bless your life. Ask him to rebuild it on the rock. Not one piece of it, all of it. Because your true power doesn't come from what you have. It comes from what you're built on. Putting God second guarantees failure in disguise. This is one of those truths that hits hard but saves lives. Because most people don't even realize they've put God second until the consequences show up. And by the time it hits, they're deep in debt, overwhelmed in purpose, confused in calling, or completely spiritually dry. You can't walk in kingdom success while operating in carnal order. Putting God second doesn't always look like failure at first, but it is. It's delayed collapse. It's disguised destruction. It's success with no stability. God doesn't play second. Not to your career, not to your relationship, not to your ambitions. And anytime he's not first, you're sowing into a system that's already collapsing. You might see growth, you might see attention, but if God isn't first, the root is rotten. It might take months, it might take years, but what's not rooted, and God always reveals itself through stress, burnout, broken relationships, and empty success. God is not just looking at what you're doing, he's looking at your order. Is he being honored first in your time, your tithe, your energy, your decisions? Or are you giving him your leftovers while calling it obedience? Putting God second is not just dishonor, it's dangerous. Because when you move God out of position, you remove yourself from, you're now operating in your own wisdom, your own timing, your own understanding. And no matter how smart you are, you don't have the capacity to carry the future without the one who wrote it. Sometimes God delays things not because he's punishing you, but because you're out of order. And he loves you too much to bless disorder. He knows if he puts a platform under a divided heart, the platform will destroy you. He knows that if he puts money in hands that haven't surrendered, the money will own you. God's blessings come with his conditions. And the first condition is always order. He must be first. And here's what makes this deceptive. Culture will applaud you even when God is second. The world will celebrate your hustle, your brand, your grind, your followers. But heaven is silent when the heart is disordered. Just because the world is clapping doesn't mean God is pleased. Just because the check clears doesn't mean the vision is blessed. If God is not in the first seat, what you built becomes a prison instead of a platform. There are people who pray before they act, but their prayer is just performance. They already made the decision. They already moved forward. God wasn't consulted. He was informed. And they wonder why the oil ran dry. They wonder why the peace disappeared. It's because God doesn't endorse disorder. He doesn't fund rebellion. And putting him second is rebellion in disguise. You can't afford to keep putting God behind your schedule, your goals, your plans. He must be the filter, not the footnote. Every decision should pass through his presence before it touches your calendar. Every dollar should be offered to him before it touches your pocket. Every opportunity should be surrendered before it's accepted. That's not legalism, that's lordship. Because what you honor first rules the rest. If you honor God first, he governs the rest. But if you push him to second, you now carry the burden that only he was meant to handle. And when God steps back, everything you thought was solid begins to shake. Putting God second always seems easier in the beginning. It seems more efficient, more productive, but eventually it costs more than you are willing to pay, because disorder attracts dysfunction, and nothing built on dysfunction can produce divine destiny. That's why you've got to take a serious look at your priorities. Not what you say, what you live. Because your daily routine reveals your true worship. Your budget reveals your true values. Your relationships reveal your real loyalty. If God isn't visibly, tangibly, undeniably first, then failure is already in motion. Hidden, subtle, but sure. You can't walk in favor while living out of alignment. Too many people are praying for blessings while walking in rebellion. They want favor to fall, but they refuse to fix the flow. Favor is not random. Favor is not magic. Favor is the result of alignment. Spiritual, mental, emotional, and practical alignment with God's will. And the harsh truth is this: God doesn't favor disorder. He doesn't favor confusion. He doesn't put his hand on chaos you created because you refuse to surrender. People say, I'm waiting on favor. But favor isn't something you wait for. It's something you walk in when your life matches God's principles. Favor isn't luck. Favor is legal access to divine increase through divine order. And if you're out of alignment, you're locked out of the flow. You may still be talented. You may still be gifted. You may still be anointed. But if your life is not aligned, your results will never match your potential. Misalignment creates unnecessary resistance. You keep praying for open doors, but you're walking in the wrong dimension. You want expansion while you're still entertaining disobedience. You want breakthrough while you're still choosing comfort over conviction. You can't mix rebellion with request and expect results. Walking in favor requires submission. It requires adjustment. It requires brutal honesty. You've got to ask yourself, am I aligned with the truth of God's word? Or am I just aligned with my own feelings? Feelings are not the same as faith. Favor doesn't flow through emotions, it flows through obedience. When God says move, you move. When he says stop, you stop. When he corrects you, you receive it. When he prunes you, you submit. That's how alignment is formed. And where there is alignment, favor can land freely. There are too many believers trying to fake favor. They look like they're in alignment on the outside. They speak the right words, attend the right events, post the right scriptures. But behind the scenes, there's compromise, secret sin, rebellion, pride, disobedience. And that kind of life repels true favor, because God doesn't bless what's built on disobedience. If the root is rebellion, the fruit is going to rot. It might look good for a season, but it won't last, because favor follows the flow of God's order, not your outward performance. You can't walk in divine results with divided loyalty. You can't serve God and serve yourself. You can't walk in favor while walking with people who keep pulling you out of alignment. Some of your delay isn't from the devil. It's from your decision to stay tied to dysfunction. Favor flows where obedience lives. And if your circle, your habits, your business, your values, or your mindset is out of alignment with the voice of God, favor will feel far. Alignment is not perfection, it's positioning. It means you're constantly adjusting, repenting, refining, and staying close to the source. It means you don't make decisions out of desperation, but out of discernment. It means you consult God before the contract. You seek wisdom before your own ambition. And when you live like that, consistently aligned, favor isn't something you have to chase. It finds you, it overtakes you, it rests on you, because now you're positioned to receive without blockage, resistance, or confusion. And don't be fooled, favor is more than finances. Favor is open doors that no man can shut. Favor is peace in the middle of the storm. Favor is supernatural protection when the enemy plots against you. Favor is divine timing, acceleration, and opportunities that you couldn't manufacture with a million marketing strategies, but all of that requires alignment. You have to move with God, not just talk about him. You have to surrender your timeline, your preferences, your control, and sync. So when life feels stuck, when things aren't breaking through, when you feel like you're grinding but not growing, the question isn't, where is God? The question is, where am I? Am I aligned with his will? Am I following his instruction? Am I ignoring correction? Because favor doesn't skip over disorder. It settles where alignment is established. The order of your priorities reveals the truth of your worship. You can say you love God, you can post scriptures, you can lead Bible studies, but your priorities will always reveal the truth, not your language. Worship isn't just about singing, lifting hands, or attending church. Worship is about what you put first, who you trust most, and what you're willing to sacrifice for. And your calendar, your wallet, your habits, your relationships, those are all indicators of where your worship actually lives. Worship is about worth. What holds the highest value in your life. That's why your priorities preach louder than your words. If your phone gets the first hour of your day instead of God, that says something. If your work gets your best energy and God gets your leftovers, that says something. If your comfort is prioritized over obedience, that says something. And what it says is this: God isn't really first. He's somewhere down the list, waiting behind everything else you've elevated above him. We've created a culture where we think we can worship God with our lips while keeping our life centered around ourselves. That's not worship. That's idolatry with Christian packaging. Because whatever you prioritize becomes your altar. Whatever you chase, whatever drives your decisions, whatever dictates your emotions, that's what you truly worship. You don't need to declare your worship, you just need to examine your patterns. Where does your time go? What do you protect the most? What do you refuse to surrender? What makes you compromise your values? That's your God. And for many people, their God is approval, money, success, image, comfort, or control. They sing songs about Jesus, but bow down to the fear of missing out. They quote scripture, but make decisions based on what people think, not what God has spoken. God doesn't need your performance. He wants your priority. He wants to know he can interrupt your schedule and still be obeyed. He wants to know you'll choose him even when it costs you attention, money, status, or momentum. Because true worship has a price. It's not convenient. It's not safe. It's sacrificial. And your daily priorities reveal whether you're truly living for the King or just using him as a consultant. You can't say God is first if he's always an afterthought. If prayer is your last resort, if giving is your lowest priority, if obedience only happens when it's easy, then you're worshiping comfort, not Christ. Worship reorders your life around him. It's not about fitting him into your plans. It's about throwing your plans at his feet and saying, only your will be done. And the beautiful thing is, when you reorder your life to reflect true worship, everything else falls into its rightful place. When God becomes your first thought instead of your last backup, you start living in divine rhythm. You begin to experience clarity, peace, and direction that only comes from alignment. Because worship isn't just a moment, It's a mindset. It's how you structure your day. It's how you treat people. It's how you pursue purpose. Priorities don't lie. You can't hide behind Christian language when your life is testifying otherwise. If he's really Lord, then his voice carries the most weight. His word becomes your compass. His presence becomes your source. His assignment becomes your obsession. And if you look at your life and he's not in that position, then it's time to reorder, not with guilt or shame, but with a holy urgency to put the only one worthy back on the throne of your life. This is not about perfection, it's about direction. What are you truly aiming for? What's driving your decisions? What's fueling your focus? If it's not Jesus, then it's not worship. No matter how spiritual it looks on the surface, and until your priorities reflect his position in your heart, your life will always carry internal tension, spiritual dryness, and disconnection. Because you weren't created to worship anything less than the King of Kings. If he's not Lord of all, he's not Lord at all. Jesus doesn't take partial ownership. He doesn't bless selective obedience. If you're only giving him pieces of your life, your Sundays, your struggles, your spiritual talk, but holding back your habits, your money, your relationships, your private decisions, then he's not Lord, he's just a label. Lordship means total surrender. It means your will bows to his word. It means your identity, time, and plans are under his authority. You don't get to choose which areas he leads. He's either in control of everything or he's not in control at all. The power of his lordship is only unlocked when you give him full dominion. Half-hearted submission is full-blown rebellion in the kingdom. There's no neutral ground. Either he governs your decisions or your flesh does. And what governs you is what owns you. You can't walk in kingdom power while still negotiating terms with the king. God doesn't bless disorder. He blesses obedience. People keep asking for breakthrough while building in disobedience. God is not obligated to bless what he never instructed. If your relationship is out of order, your finances dishonor him, your decisions bypass his voice, you're not waiting on God, he's waiting on you. His blessings follow his principles. You don't manipulate heaven with desperation. You access it through obedience. Obedience is the key that opens the floodgates. It might not be convenient. It might cost you your comfort, but God honors structure, and divine order attracts divine favor. Blessings aren't random, they're the fruit of submission. When your life aligns with his will, his provision flows without friction. You don't need to fruit when you're disconnected from the vine. You can hustle, grind, strive, and even succeed by the world's standards, but if you're not connected to the source, it's all temporary. The vine is Jesus, and apart from him, you can do nothing that lasts. Chasing fruit without abiding in him leads to burnout, pride, and spiritual emptiness. Fruit isn't produced by pressure, it flows from connection. Stay in the word, stay in worship, stay in obedience. The more rooted you are in him, the more naturally the fruit comes. But the moment you disconnect, the fruit dries up. You might still look productive, but there's no power behind it. Real results, peace, wisdom, favor, legacy, come from remaining in relationship with the vine. The deeper the connection, the greater the fruit. And if there's no fruit, the first thing to check isn't your effort, it's your connection. Your breakthrough starts where your surrender begins. Breakthrough isn't a product of striving, it's a byproduct of surrender. God doesn't respond to manipulation, he responds to yielded hearts. As long as you're trying to control the outcome, delay is inevitable. But the moment you lay it down, your timeline, your fear, your backup plans, heaven moves. Surrender breaks the barriers your effort could never touch. You don't fight your way into freedom, you surrender your way into divine access. That's where chains fall, doors open, and clarity floods in. Surrender is where pride dies and power begins. It's where you stop begging and start trusting, where you stop striving and start aligning. Breakthrough happens the moment you say, not my will, but yours be done. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. Because What you release to God, he multiplies. What you surrender, he sanctifies. Listen, this wasn't just a talk. This was a total reordering of your spiritual blueprint. Every single keynote was a key to unlock divine alignment in your life. You learned that Jesus doesn't want to be part of your life. He wants to be the foundation of your life. You saw that selective obedience is still disobedient. You understood that favor doesn't fall where order is missing. You discovered that what you prioritize is what you truly worship, that you can't chase results and ignore the vine that produces real fruit. And finally, you were reminded that your breakthrough doesn't come from doing more, it comes from surrendering deeper. This is where it changes. This is where the pretending stops and the power begins. Jesus is not your assistant. He's not your side hustle. He is the king, and the throne of your life has only one seat. So here's your challenge. Realign, refocus, rebuild. Put Jesus in his rightful place first, not last. And watch how heaven begins to accelerate what you were trying to manufacture. Your breakthrough is on the other side of surrender. Not more hustle, not more hype. Just one decision. Put Jesus first and watch the rest align. If this word hit home, comment, I'm putting him first. Then like, share, and pass it on to someone you love. This is Myron Golden Track, where we don't just speak truth, we live it bold, faith-filled, uncompromising. Until next time, stay aligned, stay anointed, and stay on track.